All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to deal you into what might just be the most expensive poker game in history, the battle for AI dominance, with all eyes on the 2026 showdown. So, what's in the pot? What are they all playing for? Well, it's not just a smarter chatbot. Nope, we're talking about something called agentic AI, autonomous systems that can manage complex, multi-step tasks all on their own, without a human constantly guiding them. This is the tech that's poised to redefine entire sectors of the global economy. And the buy-in for this game? Whoa, it is absolutely staggering. Just four of the biggest players have thrown a combined total of over $470 billion onto the table for their 2026 bets alone. I mean, just let that number sink in for a moment. This is a completely unprecedented level of investment. So, who is actually at this high stakes table? And maybe more importantly, how are they playing their hands? Because, each one has a totally unique strategy, and they're all absolutely convinced they're holding the winning cards. Okay, first up, we've got the players who are just pushing all their chips into the middle. They're going all in, betting the house that owning the most powerful infrastructure, the most raw compute power, is going to be the ultimate trump card. Now, this slide, wow. It really lays out the sheer scale of these bets. You've got Alphabet pushing in up to $185 billion, and their strong cards are Google Cloud, their Gemini models, and their own custom chips, these TPUs. Then there's Amazon with a cool $146 billion, leading hard on its AWS dominance and its own custom silicon, Trainium. And of course, Meta, wagering up to $135 billion, playing its hand with its open source Llama models. But here's the thing. This all-in strategy, it's a huge risk, right? Can they actually get a return on this mind-boggling investment before the whole tech landscape shifts again? And that massive spending, well, that's exactly what's making Wall Street nervous. The market is basically asking, is the reward really worth this colossal risk? And we saw this play out in real time. Alphabet's stock took a serious hit right after they announced their, frankly, unprecedented spending plans for 2026. Now, Meta's play, it has a slightly different angle. See, Zuckerberg isn't just talking about building infrastructure for businesses. No, he's explicitly aiming to build, and this is a quote, personal superintelligence for billions of users. So this isn't just a bet on compute power. It's a bet on fundamentally changing how every single person interacts with technology. They're hoping that their massive user base gives them an unbeatable data advantage. All right, let's look at the next player at the table, Microsoft. Now, they have a massive stack of chips for sure, but they're playing a very different, more calculated game. This one relies on creating some seriously powerful alliances. Yeah, see, Microsoft isn't just betting on one horse. They're brilliantly playing the odds. They've made their Azure cloud platform absolutely essential for their key partner, OpenAI. But they're also hedging that bet, right? They're investing billions in OpenAI's rival, Anthropic. Their end goal is to weave AI so deeply into their entire software empire that their ecosystem wins no matter which AI model actually comes out on top. The risk for them? Well, their fate is kind of tied to their partners. If OpenAI stumbles in a major way, that could send shockwaves through their entire strategy. And this right here, this just shows you the foundation they're building on. Just look at it. The Microsoft Cloud division, by itself, pulled in over $50 billion in a single quarter. I mean, that's the kind of financial firepower that lets you make these huge, strategic, multi-pronged bets all across the AI landscape. Okay, now let's wander over to a different part of the room, to a player who seems to have avoided the main table completely. They've set up their own private game, with their own set of rules. We're talking about Apple. So while everyone else is in this massive public arms race, buying up every GPU they can find and building these gigantic data centers, Apple is playing a totally different game. They're betting on on-device AI powered by their own custom M-series chips. This keeps everything private and super fast, and if a task is too big, it gets sent to Apple's private cloud, not the public ones. They are completely sidestepping the expensive public cloud war. The big weakness here, though, they might just be too slow. Can their walled garden really keep pace with the raw, brute force power of the hyperscalers? But here's the payoff for that strategy. It allows Apple to maintain an absolutely incredible 76.5% gross margin on their services. I mean, that's a number their rivals, who are burning billions on compute from other companies, can only dream about. It is truly a masterclass in profitability. Okay, so you've got all these players betting billions. They're bluffing, they're battling it out. But there's one entity at this table that's guaranteed to make a profit every single hand, and that's the dealer. Yep, in this game, NVIDIA is the house. They're the ones supplying the essential hardware, the GPUs, that powers this entire AI industry. Every single massive bet on infrastructure made by Google or Meta or Microsoft, it's a bet that puts money right back into NVIDIA's pockets. And look, they aren't just a player. They basically own the casino. They hold a staggering 92% of the GPU market. Think about that. That means for nearly every dollar spent on AI hardware, a huge chunk of it flows directly to NVIDIA. And being the dealer, oh, it is incredibly lucrative. They're operating with an astounding 75% gross margin. This just shows you how profitable it is to be the only game in town when it comes to suppliers. But even the house has a weakness, right? Their biggest customers, Google, Amazon, they're all trying desperately to build their own chips to eventually cut them out of the deal. All right, so all the cards are on the table, billions of dollars are in the pot. The big question for all of us watching is pretty simple. Which of these radically different strategies is actually the winning hand? I mean, as we've seen, 4 really distinct strategies have emerged. You've got the infrastructure kings, who are betting it all on raw power. You've got the alliance builder, Microsoft, playing the field through partnerships. Then there's the walled garden, Apple, focused on its closed, super profitable ecosystem. And of course, you have the arms dealer, NVIDIA, who's just selling the picks and shovels for this gold rush. So that brings us to the final and maybe most important question. And this one's for you to consider. Looking at all these strategies, these massive bets, these powerful players, who are you putting your money on? Who do you think is holding the winning hand for 2026? Because ultimately, what's really clear here is that these companies aren't just betting billions on a piece of technology. No, they are placing a monumental wager on shaping the very future of how we all work, how we live, and how we interact with the world around us. And in this game, well, the stakes just couldn't be higher.